Welcome to First Unitarian Congregation of Toronto in person and online, where our mission is to nurture connection, share our joys and sorrows, and act for love and justice. We welcome you, whether you're joining us from around the corner or from around the world. And whether you're a longtime member of this community or visiting us for the very first time today, you belong here because you are here. While the winter snow and chilly breezes blankets the land here in Toronto, the tree branches act as silhouettes, showing off spaces and views out of sight during their spring to fall foliage. I am intrigued with nature's activities as I witness them each day out my north-facing window. Be it a flock of winter robins with muted coloring, the scurrying squirrels searching for strong twigs to support their large winter nests, or the occasional out-of-season hawk or flock of school pigeons flying high against the blue sky. This earth offers such nurturing glamour and delight. May we cherish it and act to make it healthy and life-giving. I am fifth-generation newcomer and settler in the city we now know as Toronto. I have been very fortunate to travel, live, and work across this visibly wonderful country. With gratitude, First Unitarian Congregation of Toronto gathers on the ancestral homes of many Indigenous people from time immemorial. We acknowledge that this is the traditional territory of the Wendat and Haudenosaunee. Today, we meet at 473 Oakwood Avenue on the treaty and territories of the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation, covered by the Toronto Purchase Treaty number 13 in 1805 with the British Crown. Many First Nations, Inuit, and Métis people also now call this city their home. First U congregants are treaty partners, nation to nation, with responsibilities endorsing the United Nations Declaration of the Rights of Indigenous Peoples, UNDRID, and repudiating the doctrine of discovery and terra nullius, as recommended in the Calls for Action and the Truth and Reconciliation Commission. We here and online strive as individuals and as a congregation to be informed, to honor, and to care for the land and waters, and to engage with integrity with Indigenous people. I'm Wendy Ewens, and a member of this community and functioning as your worship leader for today's service. I am joined by the talented Gregory O on piano, our choir leader, Thomas, there he is, Thomas Linnington, who's standing in very capably for Dallas. Angela Klassen, our Director of Lifespan Religious Education, also known as our storyteller. Reverend Linda Thompson, who is a gifted interim minister that we're fortunate to have. As well as AV technician, Matt Rideout, who employs his magic to bring us to you. Behind the scenes, many more staff and volunteers make this happen seamlessly. Today, Rev. Linda will be preaching on the topic, It's History, lifting up our 8th principle as part of Black History Month and our responsibility to take steps to ensure Black people and their stories are known and seen. I'm happy to bring you news from the life of the congregation. Please visit the welcome table just outside the sanctuary doors for information on what we do around here and to get connected. You can also say hello and register for First Light e-newsletter through our website. This week in First Light, there are lots of gems, from a euchre tournament for experienced euchre players to routine group activities, CUC updates, and the thoughtful Making Meaning Journey group document for February on discerning truth. Please take a gander. As well, Rev. Linda will be hosting a newcomer information session on March 22nd. First, please see First Light to register with the administrator, Mary Ann. There are a number of key information updates on the CUC, including an upcoming event that I hope you will join me at on Dismantling Barriers, series entitled Lessons from Ontario Railroad Towns. It's on Thursday, February 19th at 7 p.m. During Black History Month, CUC will explore 5 settlements in Ontario that developed at the end of the Underground Railroad and the lasting implications and effects of these settlements. My father spent his career with the CNR, so I'll be interested to hear what it says. Thank you for being part of the life of the congregation. And now, as we begin our service, Shar, and for those online, I invite you to light a candle or chalice if you have one close by, and join with us in saying our chalice lighting words as congregant Shar lights the chalice. As we light our chalice, may its flame kindle within us the warmth of compassion, the glow of love, the fire of commitment, and the light of truth. Now, as we begin our time of worship, this time we will make sacred in our upcoming together by greeting our neighbors while being mindful of and respecting one another's ways of saying hello. Some folks may also prefer to sit quietly and reflect on their relationships. Remember, it's flu season and viruses. Enjoy. And for those online, please feel free to interact with each other by the chat.
Good morning.
Hi there.
I think it might be me.
No, we all think it's us, but I think it was this gentleman here that walked across at the end. Isn't it interesting how we all take the time to
Being mindful.
Being mindful, yes.
Yes, we used to do that.
Way back. You were doing a wonderful job. You got such a wonderful smile. You really do. Okay. I'll come back. She'll come back. Okay.
You ready?
If I may, encourage us all to come back. I now invite you, I guess I could have said to stay raised as you are able, and join in the singing together hymn 118, This Little Light of Mine.
Let it shine.
Good morning, everybody. And for the people online, it was cold out, so maybe good call. I'm going to begin with words by Reverend Dr. Monica Cummings, sharing her words as an expression of our desire to build a loving and inclusive community. She begins her prayer with these words: "Dear unknown, unknowable, yet known by many names, keep us mindful that we are all related, that one of us is ignored and treated with dis-ease, we all suffer. Today, let each one of us commit to welcoming the stranger. Let us move beyond our comfort zones and connect with people labeled different and those pushed to the edge of society. We can make a difference. We can transform lives. We can bring harmony and healing to the places and spaces where we live, work, and play. Let us keep our minds and hearts open and receptive to the still, small voice that calls us to stand witness for those who cannot, to speak the truth for justice for those who cannot, and to lead the way on the journey towards wholeness for those who cannot see it. In this spirit of life and love, compassion, and community, let it be done. Blessed be." And now please join with me in sharing the words of this congregation's covenant, our statement of aspiration. Love is our doctrine, the quest for truth is our sacrament, and service is our prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge in freedom, to serve life to the end that all souls shall grow into harmony with the divine. Thus do we covenant with each other and with all. And I'm intrigued about the contents of this box.
What could be in the Wonder Box? Our theme this month is truth, discerning truth, for young people figuring out what's true. We're going to talk about truth in your class too. We're going to go in a little different direction. We're going to talk about fibs. Anybody here ever tell a fib and find that it kind of grew into more fibs? No? Give that man a medal.
Nicely done.
Okay. Anybody notice anything different about me today? The glasses. Yeah. So why am I wearing glasses like this? Is it because it's Elton John's birthday? Valentine's Day? Is it because I'm practicing seeing with love first? Elton John's birthday is next month, by the way, so that's not what it is. And what's in the Wonder Box? For people who are up front, we're going to be relying on you to shout things out, and we're going to try to translate that for folks who are online. What's in the Wonder Box?
Sunglasses.
More glasses. What about these glasses? What do you notice about them? Rose-colored, yeah, they're red. And how about these? What about these glasses? 3D glasses, yeah, we get them in cardboard at the theater, right? All right, so I'm hoping that there are 2 curious volunteers who will come up here with me. And while they're figuring out who they are, just 2 curious volunteers, come on up. The rest of us are going to practice. Here comes Finn. Thank you, Finn. The rest of us are going to practice our call and response. And Jones, fantastic. Thank you for not letting me down. I was worried for a minute there. Okay, we're all going to practice what we're going to say together. When I say we're all looking at the same thing, you all are going to say, but we don't all see it the same way. We're going to say that a few times. When I say we're all looking at the same thing, you're going to say, but we don't all see it the same way. I'll remind you. It'll be okay. Okay, so what do you think about these glasses? Which one, Finn, would you like to put on? Would you like to put on the red ones or the... Both, okay. That can be arranged. Thank you, Jones, for agreeing to take the red ones. Okay, and... Okay, now I'm going to show you See, Jones is already checking out. What's that like? I'm going to show you something. I'm going to show this little box of hearts from the dollar store. Jones, how do they look to you? Can you stand?
They look just totally see-through.
They're totally see-through. Can you come stand a little bit closer to the microphone? Both of you. Come stand just a little bit closer to the microphone so everybody can hear you. Okay, take the glasses off and look at them.
Now they're red.
Now they're red. What were they when your glasses were on?
They look totally white.
They look totally white.
Mine were red. I said dark red
And now how do they look?
blue.
Now they look dark blue?
Yes.
How could that be? Everybody look. What did I say? We're all looking at the same thing, but... Right. Yeah. Oh, we lost some lenses. Maybe Tom, could you help Jones pop those lenses back in while we continue talking? Okay, thank you. Because the next thing we're going to ask is, Finn, if you put your glasses on and look all around the room,
I can see red and blue.
you can see red and blue.
Yes, it's red and blue lights.
Red and blue lights. Does anybody else see any red and blue lights?
Except
No.
for Joe.
Except for Jones? Yeah?
I don't.
Oh, well, what if Jones also had those same kind of glasses as you have? Oh, okay. Thank you. Okay, Tom's got your glasses ready. Here we go. You can put your red glasses back on. All right. Very good. So what do you notice? Does the room look silly, funny?
Much more different. And the light is more pink.
Much more different, and the light is more pink because you are wearing rose-colored glasses, right?
Red color.
How about Finn? Finn, if you put the glasses on, how does everything around you look?
That looks like that. See pink and red and
Some things are
blue.
red, and some
I can
things
see
are
the
blue.
people there.
There's people who look blue,
Yeah, and red. On this side and blue on this side.
but they don't look blue to me
Because he's wearing the glasses.
because he's wearing the glasses. And this is kind of like what happens to all of us because different people experience the world different ways, mostly because of their culture, because of their experiences. So what we want to think about today when we're looking through these glasses is some people feel
And we have a lost lens up.
we have a lost lens again. Can you take it to Tom and see if he'll help you while we keep talking? Okay, so our culture, our experiences, the way we do life, each of us, is shaping how we see, how we decide, how we listen, what we expect, what we notice. Where do we get our culture from? Anybody? How do we learn about our culture? Our family?
I
Yeah.
have a question.
What's your question?
Can we light the candles?
Not right now.
I
We're
have a question.
okay. What's your
If
question?
you brought speakers down here to Angela's room, then we could use them, all right? Just like what I did.
Okay. All right. So, what we want to think about is we get our culture from our family, from our school, thank you, from our friends, from people who share something in common with us. Our church, absolutely. We definitely get our culture from our church. Did I miss any? Media, movies, music, for sure. Those are all a powerful way of us finding out about our culture. So, Jones, okay. And what we notice sometimes is that how we eat, how we dress, how we talk, what we think is polite, what we think is beautiful, those can all be different too, depending on the lenses that we're seeing through.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
Where's your glasses, Jones?
Ah!
Okay.
Joe!
So, why is all that? We're all looking at the same thing, especially in the movie theater. If we go to a 3D movie and we haven't put our glasses on yet, we're all looking at the same thing. But we don't all see it the same way.
And I always had a question.
Okay, what's the question?
So in 3D movies, they're always foggy, right?
3D movies are always fun?
Foggy.
Oh, foggy.
So if you don't have
If you don't have your glasses on, that's exactly what we're saying.
But here comes the question.
Okay.
How do 3D glasses let you see it more clear?
Well, I'm going to leave that to an engineer. Do you think maybe Finn's granddad knows the answer to that question? Yeah? Can we ask Jack after the service, how does that work?
Oh,
Or anybody else who knows the answer to that question, not to put Jack on the spot. Okay, so the last part of this is there a way that we could get better at seeing through other people's lenses? So, Finn, what happens if I put a blue in front of your red, just in front of your red? Does it change how things look?
yes, I can see dark blue in there.
You can see dark blue in there? And what if I put a red in front of your blue?
I can see all of these guys red.
Everybody's red now? Yeah. So there are some ways that we can try to add a layer. We can learn how to listen carefully, ask curious questions, and pay attention to how others experience the world. And that's something I love about being together here at First Unitarian. There are so many of us who have different cultures, different experiences, different ways of doing life. And many people are so generous in helping us to understand how they do life and what that's like. So that's our time for all ages today. We don't all see the same things, but we do see, sorry. I forgot my own line. We're all looking at the same thing, but we don't all see it the same way. Exactly. Finn, can I take your glasses? We're going to put them on the top here, okay? No, we're just going to put them right on the top so everybody can see our lenses. Thank you. We're going to have our rose-colored glasses, and maybe we're going to have our heart-colored glasses too.
Then it's time to go.
It's time to go, and for people of all ages, young and young at heart, we have a browsing table after service at the back to help us remember the stories and celebrate the lives of Black people. And Zulie's here, and Rosie and Lou, if you would like to come with us, we're going to go downstairs and have the book Finn's Fibs. Here we go, Jones.
Enter with me now to a time of meditation and or prayer. A time we begin with the words and a poem from Toronto Poet Laureate Lillian Allen, given to me by a dear friend. And the book was from a 2021 Make the World New. Then there will be a silence, a musical meditation followed by the lighting of candles of concern or joy and the sharing of our sorrows and joys. So the intro to the poem that she has written is this. I love being a poet. As that artist, I save stories and find ideas that can ease hearts, heal some pain, and provoke the imagery. Poetry allows me to turn fixed notions of race, gender, grassroots aspirations, and social relations upside down and sideways. It brings various parts of community, self, knowing, experience, knowledges, and contexts to front and center, and can help to counter the fragmentation, marginalization, and demoralization that contemporary life demands. It can connect disparate souls. And her poem is titled, "In These Canadian Bones." In these Canadian bones, where Africa landed and Jamaica bubble, Inga reggae red stripe, and calypso proddings of culture, we are creating this very landscape we walk on. My daughter sings opera, speaks perfect Canadian, and I dream in dialect, grown malleable by my Canadian tongue, of a world where all that matters is the color of love, compassion, heart, and music that grooves you. And I care about Quebec, not just Montreal, that pulsing city in heat whose hips I want to stride, but for the temple of language, stride and stridency in ownership of culture, not the hot air fascism distinct of Bourgeois, but the way they love jazz. And I thank Indigenous peoples for this country. A guest on this planet, we all are, I tell you.
This is a time when we pause, tending to the sacred ties that bind our lives one to another, reminding ourselves that what touches the life of one of us touches the lives of all. In these moments, we seek to widen our circle of care by sharing the joys, sorrows, and milestones in our own lives and those of the congregation. May we hold in our thoughts all those who are heavy-hearted, those who are grieving, facing illness. May they find comfort. And I invite you to bring to mind someone that you are holding today. If you are online, feel free to share names in the chat. And those in the room, please feel free to speak briefly of your sorrow. And life offers gifts and delights. I have one to share. During the recent renewal meeting of the Ministerial Fellowship Committee of the Unitarian Universalist Association, that's a lot of words, but that committee voted to grant full fellowship to Reverend Nicole Mackay, our affiliated community ministry. Nicole serves as a Canadian military chaplain and is now in full fellowship, which means her preliminary apprenticeship times are behind her. We celebrate this milestone with her, including her ministerial formation team, which included Barb Wentworth of this congregation. It's good news for Nicole. It's good news for Unitarian Universalism. Life offers gifts and delight. May we cultivate gratitude. And if you have someone or something that you're feeling joy and gratitude for today, I invite you to speak it aloud now, and those online can share it in the chat. Blue sky.
I'm thinking about planting seeds.
Wendy, please light one final candle for us. This is for the ones that were shared online that we haven't heard, and for all the unspoken joys and sorrows of our lives and those that we come in contact with. May all that has been shared here strengthen and renew the bonds of this community, in joy and in sorrow, in struggle and success. May we together embrace life's blessings and endure its challenges. May we summon the strength to do our part to heal the hurts of our world. May we live with courage and compassion, with gratitude and joy, today and always. For our reading today, I have chosen a poem by Reverend Dr. Tandeyeka, a Black Unitarian Universalist scholar. This piece is called A Legacy of Caring. Despair is my private pain, born from what I have failed to say, failed to do, failed to overcome. Be still, my inner self. Let me rise to you. Let me reach down into your pain and soothe you. I turn to you to renew my life. I turn to the world, the streets of the city, the worn tapestries of brokerage firms, crack dealers, private estates, personal things in the bag lady's cart, rage and pain in the faces that turn from me, afraid of their own inner worlds. This common world I love anew as the lifeblood of generations who refuse to surrender their humanity in an inhumane world courses through my veins. From within this world, my despair is transformed to hope, and I begin anew the legacy of caring. And join with me now, rising in body or spirit, as we sing together hymn number 95, There Is More Love Somewhere. Thank you, Tom and choir, for keeping us on track. Black History Month, beloveds. I have been asking myself for some time now, as I thought about today, what exactly it was that I, a white person, was going to say about Black History Month. In fact, I considered, what should a white woman say about Black History Month as a sermon title? I'm a white person in a faith tradition that is predominantly white still. It would be easy for me, easy for us to use this time to reflect how those of us who are white are enriched by the diversity that happens when our beloved communities are expanded, when African Canadians and other people of color join us. But that would be too easy. It would be too familiar. It would be centering white experience as part of Black History Month, which is, I think, the opposite of what it is we're supposed to be doing. And I've come to think about this as Black History Month is not, or at least it shouldn't be, I don't think, a once and done, tidy, well, there it is. We've told some stories about Black people, and now we can get back to our regularly scheduled program. It's not that kind of thing. Rather, I hope we can use this month to focus, to remind ourselves that Black History Month is not something other, but rather it is history. If we believe in interdependence, and we say we do, then Black History Month can serve as a reset time so that we remember that the traditional ways of talking about history have centered and privileged white history. And in doing so, we have not learned about history. My first post-secondary education studies were in the field of history, mostly Victorian history, with a bit of Canadian history thrown in, which mostly focused on religious history. Interesting. But now it's been a while. And in all of those studies, in that degree, I do not remember once being asked to study the history and stories of Black people. This despite the fact that we were frequently reminded that we should and could study from the lens of those not in power. History was written by the victorious, they told us, so we should pay attention to the other stories, those of women, those who were economically disadvantaged, and those who were outside of the mainstream of society at the time. But I don't ever remember being told to study the story of a Black person. History is often told by those who are at the top of the cultural pyramid, if you will. And it's why to this day when someone says to me all romantically, geez, I would have liked to have lived in medieval times, my response is, yeah, probably not. You probably would have been an indentured serf and it wouldn't have been a great life. So I've come to learn that I with a history degree have a lot of catching up to do. It's probably safe to say that many of us here, most of us probably, when it comes to history, have inadequate educations. And so one of the things we can all do during Black History Month is educate ourselves, to mind the gaps so clearly left by the way we've been taught, by the way our culture teaches us. Last week we handed out wallet cards with the 8 principles and 6 sources of Unitarian Universalists on them. If you didn't get one, there's some at the welcome table. The 8th principle, which is the most recently added to our UU principles in Canada, calls us to individual and communal action that accountably dismantles racism and systemic barriers. Black History Month, not as a once and done exercise, but as a reminder, a time to take stock, is one of the ways, just one of the ways we can engage that work. Like the work of reconciliation with Indigenous people, a key element of the work of justice making is truth-telling. Black History Month is a call for all of us to learn more about history and then use our expanded understandings to do the good and challenging work of dismantling racism and systemic barriers. I have 2 stories to tell right now. One is mine, and the other is not. Some years ago now, I began digging around in an attempt to learn more of my family history. Ancestry.ca, some of you have probably done this. I learned some things. I learned some things that surprised me. One of my father's great-grandfathers, so that's 3 grandfathers, was born in Keene, New Hampshire in 1795. His grandfather, born in 1735, was ordained as a congregational minister and served in Keene. Another of Dad's ancestors, Thomas Stanton, my 10th great-grandfather, came to this continent in 1637 and settled in Stonington, Connecticut. He was a translator, and having learned some of the languages of the Indigenous people, was an interpreter. And here's the part of the story that really gave me pause. There is some evidence that he enslaved a Black man. My walk through a long, detailed, and very well-documented history was sobering. Contrast this now with the story by Black UU musician Glenn Thomas Rideout. Rideout tells a story about a time when he was in 7th grade and the class was doing an assignment on their family histories. And he shares the story of being in that class when a classmate was giving a presentation. When it was his turn to present his history project to our class, he began with delight, flashing a large poster board and permanent marker family tree. He'd been able to trace his ancestors back to the 1500s. I wondered how he had managed to discover so much and so many, I tried something like that a year or so ago, and I asked every adult in my family. I stayed in the local library for so long they gave me a job at the desk. I combed the internet, he says, looking for something of my deeper heritage so that I could imagine myself. And this kid in my class, well, he was talking about his German ancestors. I remember feeling confusion. I had no idea where he was getting this information about his great-great-great-grandparents. I looked around me, and none of the other black kids in the classroom seemed to have a clue either. We don't have these stories. Ultimately, I realized that my white classmates had access to time that I didn't have, access to stories and connections that I could never have. He continues, like most black people, I rise on the shoulders of ancestors whose names I cannot know. Our ability to move through our own past is encumbered, cut off at some point, where we as human beings were sold like cargo. The point of erasure. In order to shackle people to ships, you have to untether them from their life stories and their heritage, their bloodlines, and the lands of their home. You do all of this untethering, and for the rest of generations, that person for the rest of time, there can be no knowing of those stories. If from the beginning of racism and this human trafficking, the point was to build a country with people imprisoned and kept in their economic states, then the only way for America, for all of her people, to get any kind of free together is to act as if these stolen stories truly exist, to replace habits that encumber the movement and liberation of our kindred, to remember even the lives for which we have no names. And Thomas Rideout concludes, we show our children now the truths of yesterday and the possibility of tomorrow. It's this deeper connection with the greater living story that can bring a chance for wellness and repair. We need Black History Month so we can learn the real truth of who we all are, of who we are and where we come from, so that we can begin the work of repair. We need to remember stories, stolen stories, even if we know no names. This contrast between my family story and that of Glenn Thomas Rideout and so many others is evidence of the systemic erasure of so many lives lived, of accomplishments, of oppression, and it represents a history of dehumanization. It's also a reminder for me that my history is not separate from Black history. So many family stories were disrupted by the slave trade, and traditional historic scholarship has for too long used a white lens, making the stories of those who don't fit the dominant narrative invisible. That is why we have Black History Month. Again, not as a one-time-a-year, get-it-done program, but I hope as a reset, so we can remember to wear the lenses we should always be wearing. A reminder that the stories we tell are all linked to one another. It's a time for us to challenge ourselves to look beyond the stories we know, the ones we tell, the ones we were taught, and to remember that religion and theology have justified this erasure. Our job, all of us, but maybe most particularly those of us with white skin, our job is to educate ourselves and to undo some of the damage that privilege has allowed us to inflict. I spoke earlier of my family story and how in learning about it, I came to hear some stories that might have been nice to not know. It might have been nice to not know about an ancestor who likely enslaved another, but it would not be honest. And if we're going to do this work, if Black history work or reconciliation are to be more than performative, we need to have a good understanding of the truth, as much as we can know it. During Black History Month, we can lift up the stories of Black people. And typically we do, the ones who've made the news. We can tell the stories, and you likely know the stories of Viola Desmond, Lincoln Alexander, Oscar Peterson. It's important we know those stories, but there are so many others too. If we only tell the stories of those who made it, of those who have overcome, we are not truly honoring the lived experience of others, those who struggled in a system that saw them as less than, those who lived and died simple and largely unknown lives. We tend to tell the stories of people regardless of the color of their skin, of those who have accomplished something, those who matter. Of course, this is in part because those stories are better documented. But I think it's also because we like success stories, the ones where people do good work or beat the odds or can challenge the status quo. They are worthy stories, but they are not all the stories. And I think in part they are stories that are told largely through a white lens. As the Spanish-American philosopher George Santayana wrote, "Those who cannot remember the past are condemned to repeat it." When Unitarian Universalists tell the stories of our involvement with the abolitionist movement of the 1800s or the civil rights movement of the last century, we typically tell the stories of Theodore Parker, who it is said preached with a pistol in the pulpit. I promise I don't have one. He had a pistol in case a vigilante group came looking for an escaped slave. There were some hidden in the basement of his church. We tell the story of James Reeb, who answered the call to Selma and who died there. We tell the stories of other UU ministers serving in Canada who went to Selma, Bob Hemstreet of Hamilton, Arnold Thaw of Mississauga, and this congregation's minister at the time, John Morgan, who traveled with 4 members of this congregation, including a teen woman recently enrolled at the University of Toronto. So 5 people from this congregation went to Selma. And it might be easy at that moment to get all self-congratulatory. Look, we were doing the thing. But we don't do a good job if we don't tell some of the other stories. In Chicago and Los Angeles, the decision to explicitly allow Black members to become members of the congregation resulted in the resignation of more than a few members, including some board members, this in the late 50s and 60s. The first Black Unitarian Universalist ministers found, if they found any at all, only marginal and temporary employment. In Detroit, Eugene Sparrow, a Harvard Divinity School graduate, you've done all right if you graduate from Harvard, a Harvard Divinity School graduate who came to Detroit with recommendations and funding from the American Unitarian Universalist Association because they believed he should be placed in Detroit. He was considered for ministry at a congregational meeting there in 1950. The meeting minutes are missing. And the subsequent newsletter said nothing about the meeting. Sparrow was not called. We know that. He didn't end up being the minister. In 2007, 8 of the people who had been present at that meeting were interviewed, trying to understand what had gone on. And the story they tell is not a pretty one. Here are some of the quotes about their recollections. People were screaming at one another. I was shocked at the racism. His qualifications were questioned. And people threatened to leave the church and withhold their pledges. Equity, it seems, was an aspiration, but not in my backyard seems to have been a reality. In my mind, truth-seeking and telling exercise such as this one are useful as they help us in the sometimes uncomfortable work of being honest with ourselves. One of this congregation's former ministers, Reverend Dr. Mark Morrison Reed, has, since his service here, made it his focus to help us understand our history. Mark has researched extensively. In fact, the quotes I just read were from a book of his. Researching, writing, and teaching so that we better understand how our largely white perspective, so that we can understand it and then begin to shift it. And so that the picture we tell about ourselves isn't narrowed by the dominant narrative. I mentioned our principles earlier, and for us, they provide us with values, which we each in our own way translate into a personal theology. And as we consider them, it becomes quite clear that we are called to, each of us as an individual and each of our congregations, to do what we can to break down barriers, to build beloved communities. We affirm the inherent worth and dignity of each person. We name a commitment to justice and equity. We create accepting communities. We have a belief in interdependence. And the eighth, our newest principle, as I mentioned earlier, explicitly names a commitment to dismantling racism. The call to justice making, the call to remove barriers is about more than an annual observance where we tell stories. It is for us, I think, a theological imperative. It challenges us to live our values into being. This is not easy work, the work of Black History Month. If we are to take it seriously, the work of letting go of old ways of seeing, old ways of knowing, and allowing ourselves to live with other knowledge, other information, and to see what our established ways of understanding history have obscured, that's hard work. Good and bad, we need to understand the stories of this congregation, our faith tradition, our society as a whole, if we are to undo the norm, that whiteness norm, the implicit whiteness norm. James Baldwin wrote, "History is not the past, it is the present. We carry our history with us. We are our history. If we pretend otherwise, we are literally criminals." And he says this as well. "I attest to this. The world is not white. It was never white, cannot be white. White is a metaphor for power, and that is simply a way of describing the Chase Manhattan Bank." Baldwin said, "History is not the past, it is the present. We are our history. White is a metaphor for power." I am coming to understand this in my heart, in my head, and I hope in my bones. And I confess I managed to be a liberal-minded, well-educated adult before I really even thought there was something there I needed to understand. It's not just my personal history. I am our history. I can't understand you or me or us unless I understand that our present circumstances are a result of what has happened in the distant, middle, and recent past. The past is shaping our present. If we fail to understand, too, that the histories that have been left out of the storytelling, then it is possible to misinterpret our current realities. I come back to the quote, "Those who cannot remember the past are condemned to repeat it." And here we are, a community of good people who share values, who have common aspirations, and who have a stated commitment to bring more justice into the world, who have committed to dismantling racism and oppressive systems. And we are part of an imperfect tradition of justice and equity. What is our work now? May we use this time as a reminder to look more deeply at the tidy and oh so incomplete stories we are told. Let us commit to learning more about the Black leaders who have, often without notice, been part of our stories, because if we don't, we fail to have the knowledge that we need in order to do the work the world so needs. Black History Month, there are so many stories we don't know, so much we don't know. Sadly, some stories are lost, obscured so completely by those who found them unimportant or inconvenient that we may never know them. But not all the stories are lost to us. Let us learn the stories. Let us begin to tell a more complete history so that we will better understand ourselves and the world, so that our hearts and minds are open, so that we can, with integrity and intention, begin to offer, each in our own way and with our own gifts, the love that the world needs from us. May we be a people who do not merely remember history, but who allow it to transform us. Let's take a pause.
really deserving of an applause. So moving. Every single voice coming together with such a great pianist and a choir leader. Thank you. The work of First U is sustained through our continued generosity. We recognize this comes in many varied forms, whether through volunteering, your time, or through giving financially. Our mission is to nurture connection, share life's joys and sorrows as we did today, and act for love and justice. We practice our values, present in our 8 principles, and realize our mission through our weekly services, our programs, support groups, outreach, our music, and our work in the wider world, all of which requires intention, time, and money. Chris Lee, our Board of Directors co-chair, has some information about today's donation.
Thanks, Wendy. Good morning, everyone. Nice to see you all. And thank you, Linda, for that, Rev. Linda, for that sermon today and that beautiful music. So today's special collection is for, in what is, in my opinion, probably one of the most important unofficial programs that First U runs. And it is coffee time and tea time. So who here has attended a coffee hour? Most of you. And we have a lot of folks away today at the midwinter retreat too, who I'm sure are part of that. Who here attends a group during the week and meets here and has coffee or tea? There's a few of you. Who here has ever served on a coffee serving team? That's a good number. So, I think when we meet after, in a few minutes, and I'm going to try to get through this very quickly, we have an opportunity over coffee or tea or some cookies or juice to reconnect, to meet new people, to learn new aspects about some familiar faces, to engage in deep questions that we're going to get soon. It allows us to gather meaningfully. And we like to be able to provide, I think of coffee or tea as a social lubricant and allows us to get deeper and to all find a way to contribute. To cover our coffee costs over the year, we actually spend about close to $2,000. We like our coffee here. That's what I've learned. And so this is an opportunity today to maybe contribute to that. I have this cafe that I used to go to. They always had a sign that said, pay it forward, and you had the option of getting your own latte or whatever, and you could buy one for somebody else who could be a random stranger. And so you paid that forward. And so think of today as an opportunity to buy somebody here a coffee, or 5, or 10 throughout the year, and have an opportunity to find those people and share over a cup of tea or coffee and get to know each other. So I really want to thank you for being to contribute, that we have a target today. We'll probably do this one more time this year, but we have some envelopes too if people want to put in some special donations. We have the tip tap at the back where you can also donate, and anything over $20 gets you a tax receipt. And thank you again for being part of this congregation. And for those of you online or who aren't able to make it here as much in person, you're always welcome. And your contributions too are incredible. And I encourage you, even if you're not able to make it here, find somebody that you can meet with in your neighborhood and go have a coffee with them and get to know them. Thanks again. We'll see you soon. Is that it? Yeah.
That's good. And if you'd like to go online, there's a donate button there, and there'll be options to give there as well, just so you know. Thank you. Would you please join with me now, rising in body or spirit, as we sing hymn number 151, I Wish I Knew How. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for joining us today, those online and those here in person. We hope to see you next week. For those who are joining online, there will be an opportunity to join a breakout group with a discussion question. And I'm paraphrasing here, what parts of your story are missing? Matt will put the full question in the chat. And as we extinguish our common flame, I have these words to share by John Johnston. John wrote, "We shall overcome when we can truly celebrate the diversity of contributions and talents offered by all people. We shall overcome hatred and prejudice and oppression. When we can truly extend our hands to one another in loving acceptance, we shall overcome the past that haunts us now. Living in peace and freedom, we shall overcome the wrongs that have happened and the debts left unpaid. Let us join together in that commitment to overcome." And John asks that you join with me now as we say together, Amen. Amen. Amen.
I didn't
Well, I didn't want yeah, see you Thursday, guys.
All right, let's get this party started.
Isn't the party already started?
I think it has. But coffee always helps. Which he